Hello and welcome to episode 16 of Duck Size Horses, the comedy podcast which answers all of the questions we hope you've always wanted answered, and maybe some of the questions that you didn't even want answered at all. I'm Jack Higgins.
I'm Nathan Heract, and sir, we've got a guest again.
We've got a guest.
We have. Hello and welcome to Sim.
Well, hello.
Hello,
it's
sir.
Such an honour to be invited onto Duck Size Horses. I'm a big fan of the podcast. As you know, I've been here since the bitter start, and you know, I will, like the captain of the Titanic, I will stay on board until the bitter end as well. So it's lovely to meet you both.
That's brilliant. So, Sim, you are Nathan's comedy writing partner. That's right.
That's a good title.
Yes.
Let's call me that.
Yeah, let's go with
Among
that.
many other things, yes, we do. We meet up and have coffee from time to time, and then remember about halfway through the day that we should have written some jokes.
Yeah, that's very true.
Good. It's similar to me and Nathan doing this podcast. We go around, we have dinner, and then probably think we should press record.
Yeah, that's true.
Halfway through the washing up.
Oh, good. Well, thank you very much for joining us. And for you joining us at home, we are away from DSH HQ.
We are. We're not at my house anymore.
I think it's because you're trying to impress me.
I am.
We
You've
are.
brought
We've-
me here.
we've
This is
butted you
very,
up.
This is very stylish. Describe the surroundings, Jack.
Well, there's a wall to my left, a wall to my right. There's a wall with a door behind me as well.
That in itself doesn't sound very unique.
No,
it
that
sounds like
sounds-
most rooms.
That sounds a bit
It is.
Alcatraz-y as well.
No, to give it a little bit more jazz and pizzazz, we're at the University of Gloucestershire. We're in our radio studio here. This is where I work. This is where you'll find
Yeah.
me day to day.
Very nice.
And I've roped you both along as a kind of experiment to make sure everything's still working.
Oh, good. Good.
Which is great. So I can go and tell my bosses, and they can be satisfied that I've done a good job.
Should we-
Absolutely.
There's carpet on the walls and carpet
There
on the
are,
table,
yeah.
like in a proper radio studio. Let me just drop my pen on the table. I see how dull that sounded.
Amazing.
Tick, Jack, tick.
Tick. Thank you very much.
We've tested that works.
Good work. Good work. That's what we brought you here for.
Yep.
Off you go, Sim. Thanks for
Thanks
coming.
for having me. It's been lovely.
Lovely stuff. Well, as we kind of alluded to earlier on, we
Yeah.
should probably press record
We should.
and record our podcast. And we've had a fantastic question
We have.
this week. In fact, I think it came from our question bank. So there's no
I
one
think
really
so.
to thank.
No.
If anything, you all need to try harder.
We do have some thank yous, though, which I'll
do.
do. Do you want me to do them now?
Yeah, let's. Who do we need to thank?
Well, we'll thank everyone who sent in questions, even though we didn't choose them for this.
The quality was so high you've ignored them.
Yeah, absolutely,
Brilliant.
absolutely. Thank you for people who got involved in the competition. There are people that have, so we'll come to that later. And also, thank you to 4 people in Brazil, because you might remember a couple of months ago, me and Jack said that we wanted to attempt global domination, in a sense, and get listened to on every continent in the world. Jack
It
did-
basically goes Bashar al-Assad, Donald Trump, and then you two. All
that's the
clawing for
dream.
world
That's the
domination.
dream.
Yeah.
Entirely right.
We've overtook Vladimir Putin. as, number
Vladimir's,
3.
he's down to 5th.
Yeah,
he's
yeah.
down to 5th. He's not happy about that,
He
by the
doesn't
way.
have a farmyard-based podcast.
Exactly.
That's his downfall. But yeah, so thank you to 4 people in Brazil who have now completed the world for us by their listening. I'm not entirely sure what they get from it, Jack.
Well, they send us a photo of a Brazilian duck.
Exactly.
Then who knows? It's only Antarctica to go now. And
We're
then,
doing well. We're doing well.
Yeah, we're doing okay.
We're doing very well. But yeah, so thank you to everyone who's listened, especially the 4 Brazilians. Jack,
Yes.
poll time.
Poll time. It's poll time and question time.
It is.
So the question for episode 16, and it's probably I'm not going to say as equally as stupid as our question for episode 15, which
It's up
was-
there. It's up there.
But it's an interesting one. So here we go. Would you rather know the complete history of every item you touch, or be able to speak to animals?
What have the poll said, mate?
The polls on both Facebook and Twitter have gone with speaking with animals. It's very, very popular. 89% of people on Facebook would like to
Amazing.
speak to animals, and 75% on Twitter would also like to speak with animals.
Wow.
So
I mean, that just shows that, you can't trust the public.
True.
You know, they've not thought this through.
I think that's a little indication.
Yeah,
To,
to which way
I mean,
So where's gone?
obviously, I'll demonstrate that. This is my opening to the jury.
Is it? Go on then. You're ready.
Here we go then. So, Sim,
Would you
You're
want,
up.
my, do you want my opinion first?
yeah,
Yeah,
let's
let Jack
have
do
it.
the
So,
question.
would you rather know the complete history of every item you touch, or be able to speak with animals?
This is a no-brainer. I'm really surprised at the result of the poll because for me, I thought it would be hugely, 90% at least, in favour of the complete history of everything you touch. There are loads of reasons why. I'm going to delve into
Off you
those,
go, off you
as we get to talk about it. But for a start, not only is it going to be amazing for all the stories that things could tell, and I write, and so I love stories and making up stories and hearing stories. Imagine being able to touch things that have a story. There's that, right? So that's the first thing. But also, couldn't you, if you wanted to know something about an animal, so if I could talk to my dog, Django, I mean, it would be so tedious for a start. 'Cause I would get home and say, "How was your day?" You'd feel you had to because
Yeah.
he could talk,
Yeah.
and he'd just go, "Brilliant," I was really excited when I woke up. I had an amazing breakfast. It was the same as every other day, but he's really excited about it. Then he's probably spent the day mainly sleeping and maybe looking out the window and went for a walk across the same fields he always goes across every day. So I would, and I feel duty bound to sit there nodding and smiling, as you do. Maybe this is more about me not being a good listener, but it would be so tedious to have to do that. Whereas, if I could know the complete history of any object by touching it, surely I could just touch Django and I'd go, "Oh, he's had a good day," because I know his history. I know he's had a good day today.
True, that's a
So
good
I
point.
kind of think one circumnavigates the other a little bit. I was in Whitby this week
Of course you were.
and on a family holiday, and I've taken a photograph. I'm going to show you the photograph. Can we post the photograph as well?
Yeah, I'm sure we can.
Yeah,
I've said yes before even looking at Jack.
We'll
Jack.
make this happen.
It's. I went to Whitby Museum, which was, a marvellous place and full of history. And it had in the museum some absolutely incredible fossils and things like that. And I thought, imagine if I could touch a fossil like, I'm just going to get your reaction. Look at that. Imagine if I could touch that, Nathan.
That's an incredible fossil, to be fair.
That is an entire fossil of the very first and most complete sea crocodile.
Nice.
It's about 70 million years old. Imagine the stories he could tell.
That would be
There's me.
pretty cool.
There's me touching it.
Oh, you managed to get to touch it.
Yeah,
'Cause
well-
one of the questions I had is, because one of the big temptations would be to go to a museum and just start touching things.
You're going to get told off, aren't you?
You are going to
Good
get
point.
told off. My dad got told off quite severely. A few years ago.
Of course he did.
We went to the Science Museum and they had a display on by, I think it was Peugeot, and so they had a few little different car parts, and
Yeah.
But Peugeot also make bikes that you can cycle.
Oh,
on.
right. Yeah.
Are you sure he was at the Science Museum?
It was definitely there.
I walked into a car
Yeah,
dealership.
it wasn't like Halfords or something.
He told you it was the Science Museum.
He but there was this bike. He's really into cycling, and there was this brand new kind of like hybrid bike that they designed. It was super lightweight, and it was getting used in the Olympics. And there was a great big perimeter fence around it, loads of signs saying "Do not touch." So what do you think he went and did?
Touched it.
Obviously.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's gonna try and pick it up and shake it. So
A bit more than just touching.
Yeah, quite a severe telling off. So I feel you kind of like run into danger a little bit with
Yeah.
True.
with
True.
trying to touch too much.
I think that is a negative.
Yeah.
The frustration of things you couldn't get to touch would
Oh,
drive you
yeah.
mad, wouldn't it? That is a negative of my choice.
Yeah.
Because you'd
Yeah.
see things, you might even see things on the TV. I go, oh, if I could only touch that thing, I'd know loads about what has gone on there. But you
True,
couldn't because
true.
you can't touch it.
But you could touch the TV, though, couldn't you?
But then all I'd get is the history of my TV.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, good point.
Oh, and here's the thing. I've got a question.
Yes.
Do you think when you touch something and get its complete history, do you think it's kind of like the sound and video of its life replayed to you?
right.
Or is it the object telling you
It's
history, because that's going to be subjective. Because some objects are going to be like, well, I mean, yes, the Prime Minister was in this room, but I'm not going to tell you what he said because, it's not up to me. I'm just the table. And I don't want to get into that sort of argument with all these objects.
I think it would, because it's complete history. So everything that's ever been said, written, or discussed, or
in its world.
Yeah. Yep.
Well, that's amazing.
great
I'd
point.
definitely go for that.
I think it could be huge. Like the world's your and the object's oyster. So for a table, for example, if a cup of tea got spilt on the table, then you would have the history of who spilt the tea, who the tea was made by, how much
Complete history.
sugar it contained,
All of that.
yeah, where the water came from to make the tea, what the cow was called, where the milk came from, everything.
Well, that's just.
That's
That's
insane.
That's a crazy level of detail.
Yeah.
I'm almost going off it because it's
Put
just too
yourself
much
off.
detail. I'd be saying to the table, look, you had me at the tea being spilled. That's the bit I'm interested in. Why are you telling me about the cows?
See, I chose the same thing. I think,
Did you?
I'd like to have the history of everything I touch. But the more I thought about it, the more I started to go off it. I think I'd then dedicate my life to try to find something that had no history, and I was the first person to discover it.
Wow.
I mean, this table would be a good example, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
We're talking about tables.
We are talking
because we
about
could
tables.
touch this and it would just go. Do you know what? I was only built a week ago. What can I tell you? I'm pretty much brand new.
Yeah, there you go.
And also, imagine if you couldn't turn it off. So imagine you're going to try clothes on or something. You pick something up, and straight away it's screaming at you about the woman who tried it on a couple of days ago. And
Yeah, but why are you wearing women's clothing, Tim?
Well, that's how I
the
spend my weekend.
Each to their own.
And then security are ushering you out of the lingerie department. And
Again.
It might get to a point where it's actually just driving you mad.
That's
you
true.
can't touch anything.
We've talked ourselves out of this. I think.
I
think so, yeah.
My negatives for the other one are just as strong. So
they?
I'm going to wait and hear what you guys have got to say about the talking to animals, because I've got a lot to say on
Have
that.
you?
Nathan,
Yes,
what have you chosen? We haven't.
I'm nervous now because I've gone with the speaking to animals, but I feel like Sim is about to rip me apart.
Well, you've gone with the majority, so your instincts were right.
Popular again.
Yeah.
Why do you want to speak to animals then, Nathan?
I feel like I've not been as thorough as Sim and yourself in terms of the argument. My initial thought was just because I'm a big fan of the film Dr. Dolittle, and I quite like those films.
Great film.
Third one's a bit questionable.
There's 3.
There's more. Yeah, there's 3, 2.
Wow.
And one, I'm guessing.
Yeah, I should have revised. There's 32 Dr. Dolittle films.
I'm guessing, judging by your youth, you're talking about the Eddie Murphy films.
Yes,
Yeah.
although the original one's okay.
Rex
It's a bit-
Harrison.
It's a bit too singy for me. But it's
Yeah.
a musical, isn't it? To
I mean,
be
that
fair.
would be one of the downsides. If talking to animals meant you had to sing with animals,
True.
that would be a negative.
Although, one point I did make somewhere is that you could use it to decipher what whale song means. So instead
bet
of
it's
buying
really
just
boring.
those random CDs.
Wow, yeah, but for me, that's a negative. Because one of the reasons I'd hate the ability to talk to animals is because the not being able to switch it off thing would drive you mad. So imagine,
True.
whale song is a good example.
Yeah.
You can't sleep. You think, where's my whale song DVD or CD? You get it, or you find that YouTube channel that has
Yeah.
an hour of whale song, and you put it on, and you think, I'm going to go to sleep. But instead of hearing whale song, you hear, where is the plankton? There's some over here.
It would make going into a garden centre terrible.
It would it would keep you awake.
Yeah, but you don't know. They might be doing a cover of Adele or something, but just because we haven't been able to translate.
Right, it might be fascinating, but I think
Yeah.
it would be more annoying. So think of all the other animals
Yes.
that make noise that you switch off in your
That's
brain.
true.
Like a walk through the countryside on a lovely summer's day and the crickets are all chirping.
True.
You just go, oh, it's nice, isn't it? It's beautiful out here. Imagine if instead of that, there were 1,000 high-pitched screaming voices going, there's someone coming! There's someone coming! Everybody, be careful! Here comes somebody!
That's a good point. That's a
It
good
would
point.
drive you mad. Like the cows mooing, they're all, instead of just, listen to the cows, they'd be going on about, where's the food? I don't know, where's the farmer? He was here yesterday. It'd be, shut
That's true.
up.
That is very true.
Drive you mad.
But you could harbour the animals for some kind of uprising, like create some kind of dolphin army or an
Almost
army
like
of
Planet
animals.
of the Apes, kind of.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
they're not going to be expecting that, I imagine. ISIS and terrorists won't be expecting...
So you're thinking.
I'm not thinking a dolphin army to deal with
vocationally.
ISIS.
Yeah, you're gonna, okay, well,
An ocean-based reply to ISIS
Yeah.
that has not been thought about.
Because they wouldn't be expecting that, will they? A
well.
flipper crops up with some kind of
They wouldn't. No, that is true.
weaponry.
I mean, if you could get it, if you could turn these animals into comrades,
Yeah.
in whatever sense, they don't have to be comrades in arms. They
No,
could
true.
just be, friends in life.
Yeah.
What animal would you choose
What, as- to
to
have
be
as a
your
friend?
ally? Because, I'm thinking most of them are going to be a bit two-dimensional.
That's a good question. I think I'm going penguin. I'd love a penguin as a friend.
Yeah, it'd be nice.
I don't know what we'd do. Hang out somewhere cold.
Yeah. And what would the conversation be like with that penguin? How's your day been?
Yeah.
He's going to go,
Up to much.
I had some fish. That was nice.
True. Unless it's a penguin in a zoo or... Do they have penguins in circuses? I'm looking at you, Jack, like you're...
I'm the man with the circus
Yeah,
now.
I'm looking at you like you know what
Penguin
animals are in a
circus.
circus.
I'd like to see it.
Well, they have like flea circuses, don't they?
I saw a
don't-
flea
I-
circus in Whitby last week.
Did you really?
Yeah,
Was
it
it
was
any
brilliant.
good?
It was amazing, amazing.
It's a flea circus. Something that actually involves fleas.
It actually
Yeah,
exists.
it does exist.
It actually
Wow.
exists. But
That's-
I don't think there are any fleas. That's the joke.
Oh.
All the stuff moves, and the guy pretends it's fleas doing it. And
Well,
it's
that's not on.
That's how they. It's an old Victorian sort of
I've just-
variety act. It's very funny if you get to watch one. They are brilliant.
I've just had my world opened up.
There you go.
There's a flea
Did you not
circus
know that?
and there's performing fleas.
Every day is
and now
school
I've
day,
just
Jack.
had it shattered
Crumbled,
as
yeah.
well.
I didn't know it wasn't actual fleas.
Well, I don't want to. It's like a, does Father Christmas really exist moment. I don't want to burst anyone's
Careful.
bubble here, but maybe I just couldn't see them, Nathan.
Maybe
I'm wrong.
How
I
would you
don't-
train a
could be.
flea if you could speak to it?
Well, that's
True,
it,
yeah.
Well,
Plus, you could win crufts, I reckon, if you could speak to animals, because you could train your dog properly so that they're motivated to know
I think
the
it would-
competition.
change crufts quite severely.
I suppose it's cheating, isn't it?
imagine
technically?
watching Crufts again. You'd be, oh, shush, will you? All these dogs going, I need combing. Where's my tea? All
Where's
these-
my tea?
They're so demanding.
What high maintenance dog do you run?
They always want food.
Where's
don't
my
they?
latte?
If you could talk to the dog, at least if you could talk to the dog, you could go, look, here's the thing. I'm going to show you what you need to do.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, literally half an hour of coaching is all it would take, and you could win Crufts. Because you could just go, look, it goes like this. You wiggle through these things, you jump through that hoop, and then you just walk really nicely next to me. Let's have a quick go.
Yeah, quick practice.
And then do it. Because
and do it.
beyond today, jobs are good, and you can have loads of lovely food.
Yeah.
Here's the food. Show the dog the food. Go, here's the food. You get this after this half hour.
Exactly.
Instead of having to spend years training a
Training.
dog to do that stuff. So that would be a plus.
Yeah, that was my thinking.
Yeah, I will give you that. The Dr. Dolittle thing, though,
Yeah,
I haven't seen the films, the Eddie Murphy
Have
or
you
the
not?
Rex Harrison. I've seen clips.
we need to sort
But
this
I'm
out.
guessing that most of those films result in Dr. Dolittle encountering some sort of scrapes or mishaps.
Yeah, it's more helping the animals, I suppose.
There's going to be an awful lot of. It's going to be time consuming being
Yeah.
the guy who can talk to animals. When
Yeah.
you, actually, all you want to do is just go and buy a loaf of bread. People are going to be going, oh, Dr. Nathan Dittle, you're the man.
As I'm
you're-
known on the street.
Can you come and talk to my dog for me? If you- Not now. I've got shopping to
True.
do. So that's another reason I think it would be quite.
But it's a money-making scheme, though, isn't it?
So being able to touch things and know their history.
Yeah,
Oh,
because
that's true.
Imagine,
you'd
like,
get a lot of
and the
research.
police. Imagine the police would come to you and say, right, a crime happened in this room. The sofa saw everything. Can you find out what happened in the room? And you could go, certainly. Let me just touch it. And you go, oh yeah, oh this was, yeah,
Yeah.
it was definitely the butler with the lead pipe.
But
Nice,
then
nice.
I don't reckon I'd like that. I wouldn't like that responsibility.
No,
I'd
it's
also
not-
be really terrified I'd touch something really, really icky.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, think about all the things that you touch day to day. Money
oh, good
is
point.
a big one.
Mm.
So if you think, the more you think about it, money's filthy, right?
Yeah,
It's
Yeah.
true.
been-
Oh yeah.
change hand. You'd know by holding a coin how many different hands it had been in, what that person was last holding,
Yeah, true.
which nostril they last had their finger up. It's-
I think a big deciding factor in this debate
Yeah.
is, can you choose when to enact this superpower and when to
Oh.
switch it off?
Good point.
Because for both
Good
of them,
point.
I think that would be the clincher.
That's an excellent
So
point.
what do you think?
I think there's
Wow, that's a really good question.
both have quite alarming negatives.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
I think you'd have to be able to switch it off.
Yeah, I think so, because otherwise you just go insane.
You'd just be mad.
Yeah.
Okay, so here's a question then. The 80-odd% of people on Twitter and Facebook who
Yeah.
all said, I would talk to animals rather than know the history of an object just by touching it.
Yeah.
Why have they chosen that, do you think? What is it about talking to animals that people think that's what I need in my life?
That's a very good question.
We'll have to ask them. If you've got an answer for Sim, let us
Yeah.
know. That's a very good one.
Maybe they just didn't want to become, because I suppose if you have access to that much history, you could become a bit of a know-it-all. And people might not want to become quite so...
Yeah.
Spend
Because it
time
would be
with you.
really irritating to be, like, if you had the power and we were meeting up,
Yeah.
and I couldn't just, like, say, pass that blackcurrant drink. You'd have to tell me how it was, like, I'd be like, that's great, but I just want the drink. I don't want the...
It would be tiresome.
Yeah, it'd get really, really... And also, interactions with people. Like, if you go to shake someone's hand, you'll get all their history as well.
Oh, I wonder, would you get it in a big download, like a blip? Like,
Oh, yeah.
I know it. No, now I know it all. Ooh, that in itself's got some very bad negatives,
It has,
isn't it?
'cause that'd be really
Nobody
annoying.
wants to know the entire history of
Yeah.
every person you ever meet.
Exactly.
Ignorance is bliss, really, isn't
It
it?
is, isn't it?
Very
yeah.
much so.
Does that also mean that the consequence of this superpower is that nobody close to you has any secrets? Which in itself is quite a sinister superpower to have.
That is it's a bit creepy.
It's almost got into like mind reading territory,
I
isn't
think
it?
it is, yeah.
Is this a good thing or a bad thing?
Do
I
Darren
reckon
Brown out of
bad.
a job, wouldn't
I
it?
reckon it's a bad thing.
Oh,
isn't it?
Darren Brown would be out of work, wouldn't he? Poor Darren.
Yeah.
You know, he'd be like, oh, hang on a minute. You know, I thought I was good, being able to make you forget which train station you were getting off at. Now this bloke only has to shake someone's hand.
Yeah,
Good
and he
luck.
knows everything about you.
It could ruin shows. If you know when you go to like a show like that and they get given an envelope and it's got like a word in it, and
Oh,
they
yeah.
spend the whole show
Yeah.
saying, and then at the end the big reveal is that they've got on a bit of paper inside the envelope it says like soap.
Yeah.
But if he hands you the envelope to begin with, you already know what's inside it. You know what the envelope contains. So you just-
Exactly.
oh, this is this. Everybody
Go home.
Yeah. 800 people in the theatre are all
Yeah.
going to be quite disgruntled. with
Very
you.
disappointed.
And if the word is soap inside the envelope, you also know the history of soap going back.
Oh, I don't know.
decades.
That's a leap. I think
Was
you'd
that a
know
bit
the
of a
history
leap?
of the pen that wrote the word.
Yeah, you wouldn't know the
Yeah.
history of the actual.
No, I think that's too far.
Would you know the origin?
I mean,
of
this
where the
idea
word-
this idea seemed feasible until you said that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've let us both down. I apologize.
You crossed a line there, definitely.
I was unrealistic was
Well,
I, in my suggestion.
You say you would choose the talking to animals thing,
Yes.
and you say it because of Dr. Dolittle.
Yes.
So basically, is that as far as your argument went, that you quite like Eddie Murphy films, therefore that's your choice? Or did you actually think of a scenario where you could use your skill?
Yes, no, I did go further. Thank you for highlighting my incompetence, though, Sim.
That's what I'm here to do.
So I was thinking, like, a little bit like what you were saying with your dog being able to speak to them and then tell you about your day. You could use it to know exactly what they want, because sometimes you're guessing a little bit when they're whining, whether they need to go out or they need feeding or whatever else dogs need, whereas you'd have a straight answer.
So it's a little bit of a shortcut to...
Yeah, I suppose it's like a convenience rather
so
than a
you'd
skill.
use it exactly like Dr. Dolittle would, in a sense.
Yeah, to some extent. But also I was thinking if you're... So like coming here, my train was slightly delayed, only by 5 minutes, but had it been longer, I could have spoken to a bird of some kind and hitched a lift.
There was a handy bird on your carriage seat
Not on my
next to you?
carriage seat, but no, like on the platform they frequent. platforms,
so
pigeons
before you
or-
got on the train.
Yeah.
Yeah, because
If I-
on the train, it's hard to find a bird on a train.
To be fair though, if I'm on the train, I don't really need the lift.
Also, you do have a phone.
Well, yeah, but I don't really use it as it should be used.
You're using.
I
your-
just use it for
you're
football
using
scores mainly.
Your skill to talk to animals, you're using to circumnavigate a piece of technology that we've had since the late 80s in the form of a mobile phone.
Well, unless it's my family, you or Jack, I don't really text anyone, so it's not being used as it should be. So
But would you do it anymore if there was a little jay or possibly a starling that was your friend, would you
What if I got their number?
Would you suddenly become really communicative? You'd be constantly
Possibly.
sending me this bird.
Possibly.
And also, if you're sending me this starling, you know, Eric the starling or whatever your friend's
Oh,
called.
you've met him.
How do I know what he's saying? Because you're the only
Yeah.
one who can understand him.
Well, I translate. Obviously, I wouldn't just leave
But
you
you're
in a
not
room
there
with
because
him.
you've sent him You've sent him to me to give me a message because you won't
No,
text me.
no. I'd be on the bird, like whatever the message. It'd be like a bit like a carrion pigeon, but I'd come with it so that I could explain, so that there wasn't any miscommunication.
So hang on a minute. Where are you?
I'm on a bird at this moment in time.
So the bird needs to be
Huge.
yeah.
So it's a massive flying animal that you can ride.
Yes,
A Pegasus
if
type.
possible, yeah.
A horse-sized duck, if you will.
Oh,
Exactly.
right,
See,
okay.
I was thinking.
I didn't even know that was part of the hypothesis of this theory.
I'll be honest, it wasn't until about 4 minutes ago.
Here's an idea then. So
Go on, mate.
you could use this skill to address the horse-sized duck or duck-sized horses thing.
It's true.
Because in question one, the
Yeah.
option was you had to fight one or the other. You can now come to a peaceful resolution.
Yeah,
Yeah.
conflict resolution.
Yeah, you could chat things through and be like, lads, what's the issue? What's going on?
Yeah. In which case, the horse-sized duck would be the easy one because it's just one conversation.
Exactly.
true.
yeah.
Not 100.
That's true.
You're not having to use powerful duck-based rhetoric to convince an army. You're just having a one-to-one chat.
Yeah, but you could have some kind of like gathering with those 100 ducks. It wouldn't have to be a one-by-one sort of conversation.
Yeah,
you
mate.
could host
But
a
then
rally.
you're into good speech writing is required for
True,
that.
yeah.
So I think it's easier to go for the.
Yeah, you'd open with a joke probably. And then
Yeah,
take it from there.
you'd definitely take it from there.
It would do wonders for the avian and equine diplomacy. And
True.
community,
It really
so-
would.
True.
It really would. Yeah.
There we go. I think I'm more siding with you now, Nathan.
Are you?
And the public.
Really?
Yeah. I think I've been convinced by that little.
God
nugget
knows
of-
how you have been.
Well, what drew you initially to the complete history of every object
Yeah, great
skill?
question. Great question.
I quite like knowing about things. I like silly facts. I've got one.
Go on, mate.
Here's my new fact. So the largest telescope in the world has an aperture of 500 meters. That's the hole that the light goes in, and the bowl underneath it is so large that if it was filled with cornflakes, then every person on Earth could have a bowl of cornflakes for every day for a year, and there'd still be enough cornflakes left over.
Wow.
That's a lot of cornflakes.
That is a lot of cornflakes.
That's apt as well. After my little
Your little breakfast.
we were talking about breakfast here.
We
I
were.
never eat cereal, but it's all that I had today.
What cereal was it?
It was not. It'd be great if it was cornflakes.
Yeah,
It wasn't.
What was it?
I can't remember. Some sort of nutty thing.
Was it crunchy nut?
Something like that. Yeah.
Miscellaneous
Yeah.
nut-based cereal.
That's a lot. That's a lot of cornflakes. That's a good fact.
That's a fantastic.
So I
I liked any fact that combines science with breakfast cereal.
Yeah.
I mean, that's quite
what
a
you
niche.
want.
It's a niche area, but you nailed it with that.
That's what you want from a fact, isn't
And
it?
Yeah.
see, because that fact had been written down in a book and was related to that object, I'd know the history of it because that
Oh, good point.
fact had been published and written about that object. So intrinsically, it's part of that history. So I'd known lots of stupid facts about things. So that's why I went with that.
But then you got turned
You got turned.
by the burden of the skill.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, it would be awful.
Also, touch is an interesting thing. So we're saying touch just with our fingers or our bodies,
Yeah.
not through shoes. Because
Ooh.
if it's what about if everywhere you walk? You know the history of the street. You know everyone who's walked on that street.
I think there'd have to be like a barrier. So like if you'd have like gloves or shoes on,
They'd block it.
they block it. But then you'd know the history of your shoes and socks.
Yeah, all the time. You'd be so sick of it. I think in the perfect world it would be a skill, and this is what I'm going to work on.
Go on,
This
go.
is what when I develop this skill, it'll work like this. You touch it with your fingers in a
Yeah.
kind of Darren Brown way.
Yeah.
You know, bit of mystery.
Nice.
And you probably have to concentrate quite hard. I'd imagine that you'd pull a face.
Yeah,
It'd
go
probably
on.
be like,
It's a strong face.
yeah, like I'm really screwing my face up. I've got to work really hard.
Yeah.
And then suddenly it's like, you've got it. It's like,
Yeah.
oh, I've got it. Okay, it's this.
Yeah.
That would be the perfect way to do it.
That's
so you
true.
weren't being constantly bothered by it.
No.
But when you really needed to know something,
You could turn it on
do
and off. Yeah.
Sadly, coming back to Jack's dad, that takes too long to do it in a roped off area in the
Yeah.
Science Museum. People would spot you doing it. So
That's true.
there would be it'd be a time and a place.
It's quite an
wouldn't there?
unsettling thing to watch, I imagine, as
Well, you've just experienced it. How
It was quite
it?
unsettling to
Yeah,
watch.
that's what I thought. Okay.
So, Nathan, if we managed to convince you over to this side, you've managed to convince me.
Yeah, I
at
mean,
least.
to be fair, you have both argued quite well. I think with Sim just then saying that you could switch it on and off, I think that would be more beneficial if you could turn it off.
I think if you were a person who had this skill and couldn't turn it off,
Yeah.
I think you would quite easily develop the skill of turning it off.
True.
I think that's an easier skill to develop than the actual ability.
Yeah, that's very true.
So I think if you can do one, it almost follows you could definitely turn it off. 'Cause
Yeah.
you just need to be able to just kind of go, not think about it.
yeah,
And then you get into that whole touch it, pull a face, there's the history.
yeah. No,
It's
I
a
agree.
3-step guide. Touch it, pull a face, know the history.
There's
Simple.
your next book.
There it is.
So
Perfect. Yeah, I think I'll yield, sir. I'll concede.
yielding. I'm jumping the fence as well. And Sim, have you changed your mind?
No,
you still.
I still think the animals would drive you crazy.
Yeah.
And also, I think what animals have got to say in the large would be tiresome to someone like me.
Sorry to any animals that may be listening.
Tiresome and predictable.
Yeah, the views expressed by Sim are his alone.
I've got no idea what that does to our
the
scores,
scores.
now. We've both sort of swapped around. Sim sticking.
Sim's
sticking
kind of
put.
sticking.
But
yeah.
if I've persuaded you to come
You
over
have
to...
kind of, yeah, so
then it's regarded...
Yeah, I guess so.
You know,
I've
it's two,
lost here.
it's 2
I
to 1,
suppose
isn't
you've
it?
lost, yeah. So Sim's won this one, I think.
I mean, that's only fair. I am the guest.
You are the
Yeah,
guest,
that's
yeah.
true.
So,
That's true.
you
To be
know,
fair, yeah.
it's like giving me the first shout at the roast potatoes or whatever. You know, I'm the guest, so
Yeah,
I
so
should,
we'll let you win.
go in first.
Oh,
yeah.
you mean getting the roast potatoes first, not you get the chance to
Yeah.
yell at them.
I know what you're like at Carvery for shouting at vegetables.
I've been removed before from many a Toby Carvery. Well, they're talking to me. That's for next week's
That's
question.
next month's
Would
question.
you rather have a conversation with vegetables?
Which root
or-
vegetable would you rather speak to? So Sim's won,
Sims won.
which is great, but it does affect the score slightly because I don't know where we put Sim's victory.
I
Do we-
think Sim's victory goes to you. So I think
Does it go to me?
you're up a point.
Oh,
I
okay.
think,
Thank you,
'cause
Sim.
we've managed-
I've won, even though we argued completely against each other.
I'm trying to remember where the scores were after episode 15. I think
It's 9-7.
I never remember. This is
I think it is 9-7.
9-7
Yeah.
to Higgins.
all right.
So
9-8. then.
9-8.
Yeah, 9-8.
Thank
Yeah.
you, Sim, for coming in and getting me back in the game.
That's all right. Just to close the gap slightly.
yeah, we're still in it. We're still in it.
Oh, you know what I didn't do? I gave you the photo from Whitby.
Oh, yeah.
I bought you a present.
Oh, thank you, mate.
So you know Whitby is known for being very gothic and black.
Yes.
There's Whitby Jet and things.
Yeah.
So I wanted to buy you something that was bright pink. So
Oh, perfect.
wow.
and I wanted to buy you something that had Whitby written all over it. So it's a stick of rock.
Oh,
with
sir.
Whitby
Brilliant.
written all the way
Sir,
through it.
Thank you, mate.
No matter how much you try and destroy it, it will still say Whitby. So there
Indestructible.
you go.
That's what I'll
That's
eat on the train.
My
Thank you,
little
Sim.
gift for you. Thank
Thank
you.
you,
Thanks,
that's very
thanks for
kind.
having me.
Thank you for
very
coming.
much. If you'd like to be like Sim and dote us with gifts on an episode, then you can get in touch with us in the following ways.
You can tweet us at DSH Podcast. You can go to our Facebook page, which is Duck Sized Horses. Email us at ducksizedhorsespodcast@gmail.com. You can also check out our website, which is www.ducksizedhorsespodcast.com. On that website, you'll find our previous episodes, and you'll also find out about the competition, which Jack shall now explain.
So, to win a signed rubber duck,
And who's it signed by, Jack?
signed by me,
And me. Sim is holding up the one that he's got.
that's fantastic. Well, you've got one of the lucky ones that squeaks.
You have,
Did they not all make that
Not all of
noise?
them do. It's a lottery.
Yeah,
it's a
so
lottery.
if you'd like a broken or a functioning duck,
If you'd like a depressed rubber duck, then how can they do that?
so you can send us a photo or a joke involving a duck or a horse. We're quite nondescript about the duck or horse. It could be a clothes horse, could be a toilet duck.
Good. Could be both of them. Could be a horse
both.
and a duck.
Yes. If you dry your clothes in your bathroom, then take the opportunity to get a photo of both in one go.
Perfect. Perfect.
So you can send those to us using the contact details Nathan gave you a moment ago.
Yes.
And this month, our winners go to Hannah.
Yeah, Hannah Gallier's won her second duck.
Second duck.
2 in a row.
2 weeks running.
2,
right?
yeah. Incredible work.
And also to Bobby.
He's back again.
Bobby the duck collector.
He had a month off, but he's back with his, I believe, 8th duck, maybe 7th. He's done very, very well. Bobby, my hairdresser.
Cleaning up.
So he's
Absolutely
back amongst the winners. But we'll put those pictures up on the website so you can see.
If you'd like some inspiration, they're on a page called...
And we'll put Sim's lovely fossil picture up as well.
Me and a massive crocodile. Yeah.
It is very impressive.
And I think I would say, as a long-time listener, first-time contributor, I would say it's about time we had a photo or a joke from overseas.
It is.
We need an international duck winner.
We do.
So come on.
We need
Come
we need
on,
a worldwide.
overseas listeners.
Yeah, come on the 4 people in Brazil.
Yeah, pull your finger out.
We know you're out there.
I wholeheartedly agree. Well, that brings us to the end of episode 16.
Perfect. We'll be back next month.
We don't have a guest next month.
We don't know. We're just back to me and you.
Oh.
I'm not coming. I've done it once.
You're
that's it.
welcome. You're
I'm
welcome
out.
to come. Yeah, once is enough.
Perfect. Well, thank you very much for joining us,
Yeah,
and
thanks,
we'll
Sim.
see you next time.
Thank you.
This podcast is part of Britpod Scene, an independent network of uniquely British podcasts that's always growing. Check out BritpodScene.com or Britpod Scene on Twitter to find out more.